welcome to the Sports Steady Podcast, episode 41. Hope everyone out there is having a good day, a good week, a good month, a good year. I know there's a lot going on in the world and in everyone's personal lives when it comes to like political stuff and the economy and all that. So I hope you guys are hanging in there and, hopefully things will change soon. But so today we got a couple things to talk about in sports. We got NFL. Seems like some NFL free agencies getting ready to really kick off. A couple signings have already started. We got Kirk Cousins headed to the Atlanta Falcons on a 4-year deal that's going to come in at about $180 million, which includes $50 million signing bonus and $100 million guarantee. So pretty much all of that money that Kirk Cousins is going to get is going to be in the pocket. Now, Cousins has spent his last 6 years in Minnesota. Previously, he played his first 6 years with the Washington Commanders, used to be the Washington Redskins. Cousins is 35 years old, right? He was on pace to have the best season of his career last year until he tore his ACL in week 8, or his Achilles in week 8. I don't know, is that the same thing? ACL and Achilles? I don't even know. Let's just stick with the facts, the exact words. Achilles. He tore his Achilles back in week 8, and he was leading the league in passing yards. He was leading the league in touchdowns, I think, at that point. Or passing yards, probably both. So, the Vikings, they tried to come to a deal. The GM said they just couldn't come to an agreement. They wanted to bring him back. Now, I can understand the Vikings not wanting to probably give him $180 million, right? I mean, that's a lot of money for a guy who's 35, and he's 35 coming off tearing his Achilles. So the Vikings were like, whoa, we have to be cautioned here. We like to bring it back. Now, I don't know what the difference was. Maybe they had the same price, but they couldn't come to agreement. Because a lot of times with these deals, especially these large money deals, it's more so of the guaranteed money that a team is not willing to give. So maybe the Vikings would have gave him 180, but they would have put it more in incentives to where if anything went wrong, they can kind of get out of it. And you see the Falcons, who are desperate for a quarterback, right? They said, hey, we'll give you almost all of that shit guaranteed. And that's exactly what you see here, because that's what it looks like with this deal. 50 signing bonus up front. He gets $50 million off the top. Then he gets a $100 million guarantee. So the Falcons like, we're gonna lock you in. You don't even have to go back to Minnesota with this offer. We're locking you in right now. No other team is gonna give you $100 million guarantee at 35 years old. It's just not gonna happen. Because by that time, when a quarterback reaches 35, Tom Brady was the exception, right? He got better as he got older. Aaron Rodgers is still pretty good in his range. But after that, you got to look at league history. It's very likely or unlikely that a quarterback past 35 is going to be good again, even in this era of soft football where you can't touch the quarterback and guys throw for 1 million yards. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get. So the chances of the Falcons getting anything great from Cousins is probably a 50-50 that he could produce still at a level that, and let's not forget that Cousins still hasn't had any playoff success. So to give a guy this kind of money, you're probably hoping that he can lead you to a playoff victory of some sorts, and at least a division title, which is the NFC South. The division's wide open, right? So you got to assume that the Falcons are the favorites to win that division next year. And they knew they need to lock in a quarterback, especially, Tampa won the division last year. Come on. So, and Falcons and the Panthers don't look like they know what they're doing. Right? They're locked in with a young quarterback that they hope gets better next year. And then who's the other team? The Saints, who we just don't know. So there's an opportunity here for the Falcons. So last season, the Falcons, they haven't had a good quarterback since Matt Ryan left in 2021. Desmond Ridder and Marcus Mariota combined for just 5,055 yards and 27 TDs to 21 INTs over the last 2 seasons. And the Falcons have gone 7-10 in back-to-back seasons. So you hope with Kirk Cousins coming in, you're thinking, okay, how many wins can Kirk Cousins give them? Will he be enough to get them in the 10-win column? Because in that division, you win 9-10 games, you're locking the division in, right? Pretty much. Nine wins probably locks you in. And can Cousins get them to 9? Probably. Kyle Pitts sent out a tweet with the news. He's saying, who gets to keep 8? I guess they're talking about the number 8 because Kyle Pitts also wears number 8. So either Cousins, who just got $100 million guaranteed, will probably Pitts probably could say, "Hey, you want number 8? It's up for sale." So so that's that. So that's Kirk Cousins headed to the Atlanta Falcons. I think that's a good move. I think that's a good move for the Falcons. They knew they would have to pay a little more than the market because quarterbacks are not available. And the Falcons need one. So we got that. Another signing that happened, a couple signings happened today. Gardner Minshew from the Colts, played with the Colts last year. He signed a 2-year deal at $25 million with the Las Vegas Raiders, and $15 million will be fully guaranteed. And Minshew played pretty well, filling in for Anthony Richardson when Richardson went down with a season-ending injury back in Week 5. Minshew finished the year 62% completion rate, along with 3,300 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 9 picks, and he went 7-6, which is pretty solid, right? I mean, for a guy like Minshew, so he gets he's gonna probably he probably gonna be the starter from Week 1 for the Raiders, unless they make a deal for like another quarterback, because he's Aiden O'Connell is not gonna beat out Gardner Minshew. I think Minshew locks that job, and O'Connell sucks. And the Raiders also were they were looking into trading for Justin Fields before signing Minshew. So we don't know if that's still on the table or not. But Vegas struggled at quarterback last year, right? Since 2023, I mean, last season they had 3 different quarterbacks: Garoppolo, Brian Hoyer, and O'Connell. So Tom Telesco, the new GM, he took over this offseason. They're saying he could still draft a QB this year. That's the rumors. Team currently has the 13th overall pick. So will they still take a quarterback at 13 if one's available that they like? Maybe. So that's another thing right there to look at for the Las Vegas Raiders. The Eagles, after losing a run, they lost their running back early this offseason, but they have turned around now, brought in a former star running back and a division rival. So Eagles and running back Saquon Barkley agreed to a 3-year, $37 million deal. Sources tell Adam Schefter from ESPN. So Shefty broke that story. The deal for Barkley has a maximum value of $46 million, and it contains $26 million fully guaranteed dollars. And the Eagles are signing Barkley away from the division rival Giants, who opted against tagging the Pro Bowler for the second season, but were reportedly interested in bringing him back on a long-term deal. So they reportedly wanted to bring him back, but Barkley signed a revised one-year contract last season, and probably was like, man, you tagged me, you could have signed me last year. He probably felt, I think Barkley said, you know what, screw you guys because you did me dirty last year. Remember last offseason, all the talk about the running backs and the contract situation with that? And Barkley was one of the people who thought he should have got a long-term deal last year. He was offended after seeing Daniel Jones get his contract. So Barkley probably was already done with the Giants. So he said, I'll fix you. I'll go to the Eagles. So I think while the Giants may have wanted to lock him up, Barkley was already ready to bounce. That's just my take. I don't know. I'm not in Barkley's camp. I'm just assuming that he probably felt a certain way about the Giants last year and held a grudge. So Barkley, he will be the lead back for the Eagles next year. After DeAndre Swift, as I mentioned before, he left, signed with the Chicago Bears on a 3-year, $24 million deal. So Barkley will be the lead back for the Eagles. Now, here's the kicker. Barkley's only 27 years old. Now, I know that's old in running back years in the NFL. That's considered up there. But if he has anything left, right? He played his first 6 seasons with the Giants. He was number 2 overall pick. And so he has struggled, but he had a pretty good year last year, right? He bounced back, 1,300 yards, and he was a Pro Bowler, so he earned his new contract. I think he knew, I'm gonna have a good year. I'm gonna bounce back year, then I'm out of here. That's what he thought, right? That's what he figured to do. So good for Barkley. He's out out the Giants, back over to the Eagles. And let's see what else we got here. So this is the analysis. We're going to look over this analysis for day one of free agency to see who did what and what's expected going forward. So we already talked about Barkley and his big contract, or decent contract. And I think that's going to hurt the Giants because even Daniel Jones plays better with Barkley. So Falcons with Kirk Cousins, talked about that already. Packers signed Josh Jacobs after releasing Aaron Jones. So Josh Jacobs, another decent guy for the Packers. But the Packers, they played well in the playoffs last year. I mean, Jordan Love looks like he has arrived. Now you give him Josh Jacobs, who I think is an upgrade over Aaron Jones for sure at running back. A 4-year, $48 million. That would be a really big deal for the Packers. So that's and with AJ Dillon being a free agent, this is now Jacobs' backfield. I mean that's a big. I think Jacobs is a upgrade over Jones and Dillon combined, right? I mean Josh Jacobs has that kind of upgrade, so we'll see. We'll see where Jones lands. If Jacobs could bring his bell cow status to Green Bay and consolidate the majority of Jones's and Dillon's production, he'll have a chance to push for top 5 fantasy numbers at his position. So, we always think of fantasy, right? Fantasy is always a big deal. So, I think Jacobs is going to be a nice pickup for the Packers. DeAndre Swift, we already talked about that. Tony Pollard. Remember Tony Pollard, the former Dallas Cowgirl, is headed to the Titans. So, which is pretty interesting because remember the whole what's going on there with Henry. right? So we'll see with that. So Tony Pollard headed to the Titans 3 years, 24 million. Pollard played pretty well when he was sharing the backfield with Ezekiel Elliott back in Dallas. So we don't know what's gonna happen here. Maybe he'll share it again. I don't know what's going on. Are they gonna bring back Derrick Henry? Jaguars signed Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis, former wideout for the Buffalo Bills. So Gabe leaving the Bills Mafia headed to Jacksonville on a 3 year, $39 million deal. So he departs Buffalo. Gabe Davis was catching passes from Josh Allen. Now he gets to catch passes from Trevor Lawrence. Gabe Davis is only 24 years old. Right? He failed to provide the Bills with a consistent second option in the passing game. However, Jacksonville front office must believe his potential, since this signing likely brings an end to all attempts to retain Calvin Ridley. So, Gabe Davis, 24 years old, they believe in his ability to produce and probably make up production to take over for Calvin Ridley, potentially. I don't know. I don't know if Gabe Davis is that good. Because Calvin Ridley was a potential one. Can Gabe Davis be a one in Jacksonville? I don't know. It might be a one by committee or two or three. You know, he may give you about 50 catches next year. I don't think that's a one. They still got Zay Davis, Ingram, and and Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, right? So okay, Steelers. The big signing, or at least from name recognition wise, the Pittsburgh Steelers go out and get Russell Wilson on a 1 year deal that was reported last night from the big networks. But we reported this 2 days ago that on Sports Study TV on X that Russell Wilson was going to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 1 year deal. So they stole our headlines on that. And so looks like Pickett is done as a starter. Russell Wilson is going to beat out Kenny Pickett for sure. And Mike Tomlin, who could be on a hot seat, so he's going to probably go with the veteran to try to save his season or save his job in Pittsburgh. Does Russell Wilson have anything left? He's leaving the AFC West to a very competitive AFC North with dealing with the defenses like Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincinnati, a good team, right? This is going to be a tough potential situation for Russell Wilson if he can't bounce back. He's going to need some receivers. He's going to need a tight end. He's going to need a good offensive line. He's going to need a good running game. Can he? Because right now it looks like he just went lateral move from Denver to Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's in a tougher division and going up against tougher defenses. So I don't know. We're going to see what happens with that. Can Mike Tomlin turn Russell Wilson around? We'll have to find out. It doesn't look that promising, though. I could say that. Doesn't look that promising, at least right now. We'll just see what they do in free agency, of course. So those are the moves so far on day one in NFL free agency that are on the board. So I don't know what you guys think. Let us know in the comments here on the YouTube. We're live. Not live, but we're doing a podcast here. It will be uploaded to YouTube on Sports Steady TV. Also, we got Apple Podcasts. Leave us a rating. And all podcasts, iHeart, Radio, Pod, tune in and all that stuff. So just let us know what you think about NFL free agency. Did your team get anything good on day one? Maybe they'll get something good on day 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, and stuff like that. So that's that. Now, let's see if there's any other news. NFL we talked about. I'm only gonna be here a little bit longer than I'm out of here. Maybe we'll go to NBA. Maybe. Let me see. Should I go NBA? There's a lot of talking in the NBA over the competition, or the level of competition is starting to heat up, right? Because people are now acknowledging that this era of basketball is the weakest in league history. But there's been some pushback. A lot of the younger fans are saying, hey, the 90s are done, they're finished, they're toast. And they're trying to make a case that this era somehow was better, which I think is a complete load of crap. But so as they try to beef up LeBron's GOAT case, which is the real situation there. But I'm not gonna talk too much NBA on this episode. I think we're kind of done here. I'm gonna wrap this episode up of the Sports Study Podcast because we're already a little bit over time, and this was more dedicated to the NFL free agency. But I'll see you guys probably in a couple of days. We're gonna do another episode where I'm gonna hit some topics. Also, if you got something you want me to talk about, send us an email at sportssteady@protonmail.com. Sportssteady spelled the same way as the name of the podcast, at protonmail.com. All right. Follow us on social media at SportsSteady TV, on X, YouTube at SportsSteady TV, SportsSteady Live, and on Rumble at SportsSteady and SportsSteady Live on there as well. And also on Saturday night, Sunday morning, SportsSteady Radio at SportsSteady Radio on Rumble and YouTube. We do a show on Saturday nights into Sunday morning. Usually starts around 11, goes into Sunday morning, 2-3 hours, sometimes 4, depends on what's going on. But anyway, that's it for this episode of the Sports Study Podcast. Everyone have a good week, have a good day, enjoy yourself, and stay safe. Sports page run by sports fans. Peace.